I've been called a lot of bad things in my life. Weak, untalented, stupid, cold, worthless. The points in my life where they actually hurt me was because there was a part of me that feared that they might be true. For example, by age 16, I think I'd moved something like 15 or 16 times. So I'd moved to lots of different schools and I was called stupid. There was some classes, especially English, where my dyslexia was really causing challenges and I was internalizing that to mean that I was actually stupid and I was never going to amount to anything successful. And a part of this continued into both my work and also on Instagram when I would make spelling mistakes, whether that be in a post or whether that be in a workshop in a slide. There was a part of me that was actually afraid that it was true, that I was stupid, therefore it was landing inside of my system. But when we live like this, afraid of what other people might say, it creates a type of self-imposed prison. You don't want to create an emotional avalanche of whether it be speaking up to your partner or speaking out at work or sharing what it is that you're passionate about on social media. One of the things that Aristotle said beautifully was that he said the only way to avoid criticism was to do nothing, to say nothing, and to be nothing. And that is no life. It doesn't have to be this way. There is a key to this self-imprisoned cage that so many of us make. In this video, I'm going to share how to be your full, authentic, freely express self. This is how to become unstoppable in the face of what other people think. Before we dive into that, let's do a quick exercise together. So out loud, say, I'm an idiot. I'm a fraud. I'm worthless. I'm unlovable. I'm a blue frog. Can you feel the difference between those words? I'm going to imagine all of you, when you said you're a blue frog, don't actually relate to being a blue amphibian, and therefore it had a different resonance to it, had a different feeling in your body, because you knew that that wasn't true. There was no parts of your belief system that believed that you were a blue frog, but there might have been parts of your belief system that believe you're unlovable, or you're a fraud, or you're stupid. So this starts to reveal to us where we can begin to set ourselves free. What we're working towards is so that we can hear those criticisms, whether it be from others, whether it be on social media, and you in your heart can know that that's not true. From this space, it allows you to essentially unstoppably be yourself. You can bring your authentic expression online to the world. You can bring your gifts out to the world. You can have the conversations that you care about because you're not afraid of what other people are going to think. But first, let's understand, why do we feel or fear that these might be true? It's really important to know that these are not objectively true, but often reflect something from our experiences. I'm going to share a framework with you here that explains how this works and how these beliefs develop in our system. So if you remember back before, I was sharing about being at school. So that would be the originating experiences that created an emotion within myself. So the experience creates an emotion, and the emotion of that experience was not feeling smart and intelligent, and I felt unworthy. And from that feeling of unworthiness, I had created a belief that I was stupid. And I would tell stories of myself in my head that, oh, I'm not so smart, I'm not going to be successful. And it would be this kind of negative self-talk in terms of circulating stories. And then in terms of behavior, that would avoid having me writing or avoid having me show up on social media. So at the top we have behavior, and at the bottom we have our experiences. And our experiences create emotions. Emotions from that emotional experience creates a belief. That belief tends to reinforce itself, which creates stories. And then those stories show up as the behavior in our life. So often we're wanting to go out after things in our life, but it's often our beliefs that block us from actually going towards them. So what I'm trying to show here is that it's conditioned and it's not your fault, and we can also recondition our beliefs to create completely different lives and experiences. So how do we overcome this? How do we repattern those beliefs that we have been conditioned with? Well, there are many different ways up the mountain. In fact, there are 50 plus different ways that we could do this. However, what's really important is to understand the mechanics behind all 50 of these different tools. After I explain the mechanism, I'm going to share with you two absolute must-haves when you're looking for a practitioner to support you. So back to the fundamental pattern of all of these different paths, whether it be medicine work, EMDR, meditation, therapy, all of the different tools and modalities that we can use to transmute and transform our beliefs in our lives. What is the actual fundamental pattern that exists inside all of them? The fundamental pattern between all of the different modalities is essentially this. Imagine there is a folder system, and there is a folder system that says unworthiness. And inside of that folder are all of the different memories where I felt unworthy. And this will be the same for all of us. We'll all have these different folders in different ways. So just imagine what that is for you. So inside of the folder of unworthiness were all of the different memories where I had felt that. Now the first part is that I'm actually holding a bigger perspective as I look into the folder. So I'm holding my adult perspective, recognizing that as a child, it made sense why I might interpret that as stupid. And I have understanding and therefore compassion for what's being experienced. So for example, as an adult, I can see that I wasn't a stupid child. I can see that it was just a product of my environment. I'd moved around a lot and didn't get the training that I needed. Therefore, that belief that I'm stupid actually doesn't make any sense at all. That's the first skill, is viewing it from a larger perspective. Obviously, your therapist would support in this. A psychedelic journey gives us a bigger perspective, so we're viewing it from a wiser, bigger lens. We're seeing it through a bigger perspective. Then, so that we're not just bypassing it through a bigger perspective, we also want to go down into the file and relate to it through our hearts with care and compassion. And as we do that, we hold the bigger perspective and we relate to that experience with love and compassion. Every single file inside that folder starts to be overwritten with a new set of programs, with a new emotional tone, with a new frequency. And essentially, we take unworthiness, we bring love. We take unworthiness, we bring love. So whatever those feelings are with you, not just conceptually, but through the body, we begin to see, feel, and understand the truth of that experience. And we begin to harmonize all of that from a space of care, love, strength, and compassion. So the fundamental mechanism is seeing it through a larger perspective and bringing love to whatever was not love. So there are two essential things that I recommend that you look for whenever you're getting a coach, support, therapist, anyone to support you in your life. The first is that you trust them. Trust is essential because that's what actually allows us to open up to do this work. So it's important that you feel, not in your head, not about qualifications, but like in your body, you feel like you trust this person. The second is that I recommend that you work with someone who has an understanding of the mind and also the body. They have an understanding of attachment, somatics, the nervous system, and also how the mind, thoughts, and beliefs work, so that you can actually bring all of these pieces of the puzzle together. On the other side of this is true freedom, the ability to be able to express yourself, to share the things that you are most passionate about. That is the joy and the gift of this work. If you'd like some extra support from this, I have a free app called the ToolBox. The link is below. There's a 7-day free challenge as well as multiple other exercises that can support you in this process.